Once again, we have Matt Struthers here today to tell us about the crop report for Saskatchewan. And so thank you once again for being with us, Matt, like always.
Thanks for having me.
What's new for the crop report in Saskatchewan?
Well, over this past week, it was relatively dry for much of the province, which was good. It allowed us to get into a lot of fields and get a lot of seed in the ground. We're sitting at about 91% of the crop now seeded for the entire province, up from 76% last week, and still behind the 5-year average of 97%. So, it's very good to see. A lot of those regions, especially in the east, get a lot of seed in the ground, whereas in the west, where seeding's pretty much wrapped up, they didn't get the moisture again this week, and so hopefully in the next over the next week or two that they get the moisture they desperately need for their crops to continue to grow, and then hopefully in the east it stays relatively dry, so they're able to continue working as they kind of wind down for seeding.
How much of a difference does that 6% between what the yearly average is down to our 91%? How big of a deal will that be? Will it really affect a lot of things in terms of the crop prices and just overall the whole crop industry in Saskatchewan?
Well, that number, it represents more how many producers or seeding operations have finished across the province. It doesn't represent actual total acreage, because of course we don't know seeded acreage until seeding finishes, and then we can actually see how many fields or how many acres have been seeded. So that 91% is more to say 91% of farmers have completed seeding, and there are still those who have to finish up over there in the east. I mean, the southeast is at 86%, and the east central is at 77%. So still a lot of work to do over there, and a lot of fields are still too wet to work in. So that's what represents it more than to say if that's a total acreage or not. So certainly is nothing to be worried about. And to make up that 6% difference, that's a couple warm days and long days and hard work for farmers to catch up on. So certainly nothing to worry about. If we have another warm week like we just had, a nice dry warm week, many more fields will be able to be seeded.
And so that's good to hear. And so with most people having their farms seeded, kind of what is the outlook as the months go on? What are crop farmers looking forward to? Kind of, you've been mentioning that lots of farmers are hoping for some more moisture. What other things are farmers looking forward to as the months go on in the summer and then into fall?
I'm sure they're hoping, especially over in the west, they're hoping for rain, but they're also hoping for the absence of really hot days. Once those days get up to 30 or up, it's a really hard on those plants, especially if they don't have the moisture. I bet they're also hoping that weed pressure drops and insect pressure also drops, because they've been trying to spray like crazy to keep weeds and insects such as flea beetles and grasshoppers down, since there's been quite a resurgence of those early here in the coming days of June here. So I'm sure they just hope that the weather holds out where they need it to, or it opens up and gets a lot of rain, and the insects move on or just leave altogether, because they're being quite a nuisance right now, and we've even had in the last couple of weeks we've even had instances of frost, and we're coming into June, so hopefully we don't have any kind of freak frost occurrences over the summer. We did have one, I remember one in late June last year, so hopefully that doesn't occur, and we can just have a nice good year. But to have a good year this year, there's going to be a lot of rain that's needed in the west half of the province.
Thank you so much for all the information, Matt, and we will look forward to the report next week.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.